So let's jump right in. So three Grammy nominations. The album, Ladylike, you got More Hearts Than Mine. And then you, Grammy nominated. I know you've been asked the question a billion times, and I don't want to ask the same question about how it felt because you've already answered it a whole lot of times. But I want to put it in terms of like somebody who's in real estate always has a goal of like selling the most houses, right? Or if you are working at, McDonald's and your aspiration is to become an owner one day, like that's your goal and you want to get there. And as an artist and a singer, songwriter, singer, the ultimate is the Grammys. And so I wonder, one, when you heard the news, what was your first reaction? And then two, what's the next goal after that? Like if you've reached that already, what's next, dude?
Dude, I don't know. That's the thing. It's just like, so when I watched the live stream of the announcements, and I was literally like on the floor, like screaming. I was like, what? And I think I've peaked, to be honest. I mean, I might as well just like, at this point, I don't know. I'm still wrapping my head around it, to be honest, because I'm so new. And to even be acknowledged in this way is just like really mind-blowing to me, especially this year since I didn't get to tour at all. Like it's really all just like, I don't know what's going on.
Is this happening right now? Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine. So look, all right. So now let's go and let's flash forward to the actual award show because, you're up for 3 awards. There's a good chance you're going to win at least one of these things, maybe all 3 of them. Have you thought about that and what that looks like and what you're going to talk about? I mean, like at all? Can you even plan for something like that? I don't know.
I think Megan Thee Stallion should win new artist because I am obsessed with her.
This is great.
To be honest, like she is so dope. But for the other ones, I'm just like, I don't even know how to prepare. When I'm just such an honest writer and like songwriter. And so when I write these things, I'm not even thinking about anything else other than like the song. So to now be in this situation where it's like, hey, turns out a lot of people relate to your songs and you're like, yes, we love that. We have more in common than what we all think. But then at the same time, you're just like, oh wait, whoa. Like people really relate to your music and you're like, okay, wow. So to me, I'm kind of just staying in my own head, if you will. And because to me, it's always just been like, focus on the music and what you think sounds good. And being nominated for anything is a huge honor because it means that a lot of people know where you're coming from. And so to me, that's how I'm going to look at it. Because it's just like, at the end of the day, it's about how many people, listen to your music to help them get through whatever they're going through. So to me, that's the biggest win. So just being nominated is just, I've peaked. I think I'm done after this, to be honest.
You're not. There's so much more to come. I keep actually telling people that, while the pandemic has really sucked in a lot of ways, as far as, you really haven't been able to tour with this album, like a lot of artists. But what it's really, I think, done is creative people like you have been hunkered down with really nothing else to do other than write songs. And so, yes, this year sucks. But when we are finally able to like get out there and maybe even in 2021, the music you guys, creative people like you, are going to put out there. I mean, I think it's probably going to be some of the best music we've ever seen. Really, genuinely, I mean that because your lives are completely different than what they would have been tour, show.
For sure. Yeah, you're spot on. I feel like I wouldn't have written a lot of the stuff that I have if I had been on the road. And plus this year in general has brought about so many new experiences. And so as creative people, we can't not talk about it,
Right. Absolutely.
For me, I always like, the storytelling aspect of it is so important to me. And it's been a really creative time. I'm not going to lie. Like some days I'm just like, don't want to talk about anything. Like it's just too much. But like on other days though, it's just been it has been a really inspiring year, which I'm sure most people are like, inspiring, like question mark, but like it really has been, because we've all worked through so much this year. And I think as far as like substance in country music, I think we could kind of raise the bar a little bit more and talk about things that are actually happening in this country. So I really hope that people take this opportunity to do that, because I think a lot of people need something to lean on right now. So
very well said. And I think that's a perfect segue into the single, which we are going to play here in a little bit, called Ladylike. And it's obviously the title of the album. And it's certainly it's a different take on what labels really, right? And the things that we put people in categories, and like guys are supposed to be like this and women are supposed to be like this, et cetera, et cetera. Can you tell me about writing that song and what it feels like to put it out there? Because I think it was on your Instagram. I want to make sure I read this so I don't get it wrong. But you were saying that this song was for me, quote, end quote. But you've decided to put it out there. I wonder, what that's got to be like, because songwriting is really, you're sharing your diary and your journal with everybody. And that's not something most people like to do. So can you walk me through that, please?
It's a terrifying process. I'm not going to lie, because it's being vulnerable is hard enough. And so, but then being vulnerable in front of everybody in the world was a process for me to work through, because obviously, especially now with like cancel culture and everything, everybody really wants to just come at you. But for me, I think honesty is the most important thing about communicating with people and relating to them. And Ladylike was just basically me venting and then realizing that I'm not the only one who feels that way, and that I've never understood gender stereotypes, to be honest, because I was raised in a family to where nobody ever told me I couldn't do something because I was a girl. Like, I never understood that until, I moved and went into the real world, and turns out gender stereotypes are very real. And it's just it's a very fascinating concept to me, because I'm just like, especially in music, I'm like, when I listen to somebody, I'm not focused on like what they look like or whatever. I just want to know how I feel. And so I'm basically just like, I feel like an alien who landed on the planet and is learning the ways of the people. But like, I don't think that those are like actually practical rules, and they don't make any sense. Like, I think people should just be allowed to express themselves for who they are. I think there's room for everybody to be themselves. So,
it's
I'm
interesting.
Still learning.
I think we all are. And that's what I was going to say. It's interesting because, I didn't really think that I had any of those things within myself, but then, you grow and you learn. And I have a daughter now who's 6, and you learn things like, I used to say, chick flick a lot. And you think about that and it's like, well, wait, why is it a chick flick? Because I love me a rom-com, dude. I totally do. So why is it called a chick flick? Or, throw like a girl and things like that I absolutely said. I totally did say a dozen times.
I have
you learn from them, right? Like it's weird. You start to grow almost, I guess.
Yes. And I feel like, and there's no, Ladylike is not an angry song. It is like, in no way am I trying to make people feel bad for things that society has taught us. Like, we are all subjects of society that have had to learn and grow. And so to me, it's just discovering. It's a song about discovering that you can just own up to whoever you are. At least it was for me. So yeah, we're always going to be changing and growing, and there's no right or wrong journey. I think everybody's just going to find it on their own. And to me, Ladylike is really just more me letting people know, like, hey, I'm owning my stuff. You can own yours too, and we're going to be fine. Like, everybody has to do it eventually. So
I think
whether you're a guy or a girl.
Right. And I think it's what I love about your album. It's incredibly honest. It's incredibly authentic and real. And it touches on a bunch of different things. There's also some really fun songs in there too, which I'm going to talk about in a second. I remember, listening to your album for the first time, and I loved it. And then I listened to it again a couple of days ago, all the way through, because, I knew that we were going to be talking and I wanted to have a fresh memory about everything.
With your bulletin board in the background.
With my bulletin board in the background. Actually, if I'm being completely honest, I put in my AirPods, I grabbed 2 beers, and I took a hot bath, not kidding. And I put that thing in and I listened from beginning to end all the way through and just listened. You know what I mean? Like the kids weren't around. I could just listen to the whole thing. And it's a phenomenal album. I want to talk about a couple of songs. So I get out and I tell my wife, like, this album's unbelievable. It's so incredibly good and it touches me right here. However, I found myself going around the house. I'm cleaning or doing, I don't know what I was doing. And all of a sudden I started going, I've been thinking about boys.
Yes.
And I'm like, wait, and my wife's like, what? You've been thinking about boys? And I'm like, it's catchy, dude. I don't know what to tell you. It's catchy.
Dude, it is a bop.
You wrote it with Charlie XCX and she put it out a couple of years ago. And it's a phenomenal tune. I love that one. I heard We're Not Friends was the first song I ever heard of yours. And I remember I was mowing the lawn and I stopped, like turned the lawnmower off. And I was like, who the hell is this? Like took out my phone. And that's when I first discovered you. And that song is so, it's like, we've all been there, right? We've all been in that situation where you're like, I don't know what you think's happening here, but like, we're not friends. There's so much more here. And we're trying to get through this. But my favorite song on the album is The Stranger. And
yay.
It's because I don't know that there's so many songs that really talk about that aspect of a relationship where it's not really a breakup song at all. It's kind of like a, hey, we had that spark. It's what happened to it. I remember it. I love it. I miss that feeling. And it's unbelievable. Can you talk to me about that song for a little bit?
Totally. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of why I didn't think I was an artist at first, because I like thinking about things in a different way that haven't been approached. That was actually the song that made me realize that it's probably time to be an artist now and not just a songwriter, because I wrote it and was like, I think a lot of people would relate to this, but nobody wanted to cut it. And so I was just like, I don't understand why nobody wants to cut this. So I'm going to put it out. And that song was basically just me observing a lot of different relationships in my life, whether it's friends or parents or just whatever, because there was such a contrast between like what Disney movies showed you growing up versus like real life. And I am a Disney child. Like I know every Disney movie, and the way that society and people frame marriage is just so, I mean, I'm not married, so I can't be like, I know what, all the things. But from what I've observed, it's just so different. And I just feel like it's okay if you feel that way. Like it doesn't mean like everything's falling apart. Like that's just it's normal. And Hollywood doesn't let you know that. And so I just wanted to like bring it to light and be like, hey, people go through this and it's okay. That doesn't mean you're not in love. It's just part of life. And so starting to highlight things that are more real instead of like whatever society makes you feel like you need to be, I think is important, because we're changing as a culture. And like, I don't know. I think it's important to talk about those in-between feelings because we all go through them.
Well, I think it's very well said. And I think it's one of the reasons why everybody should listen to your album, because there are a lot of songs like that are so real and they're talking about things, or at least, putting things in a perspective that aren't really done that often. I want to talk about something I read on Variety. And again, I'm going to look over at my sheet here so that I can read it to make sure I get it right. So I'm not being rude.
Yeah.
It says, quotes, if you look at the top 5 songs on radio, it's all white males. And then you look at the Grammy nominations and it's like no white males. And I think that what you're a big part of is hopefully changing that, because your album this year really has knocked people on their butt and hopefully open their eyes to the fact that there are incredibly talented people, women, but people who aren't getting recognized for whatever reason, and country radio, more than any other genre that I've ever been a part of, seems to how do I say this without losing my job?
I'm praying for you. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying though. Can we talk about that a little bit? And do you feel in any way proud maybe that you're part of leading this charge with this album? And, I don't know if it was something you set out to do, but maybe if it was that a goal in mind, I guess?
Yeah. I think there have been plenty of women before me who have done the same thing. And so I by no means feel like I'm leading any charge because, I mean, Loretta Lynn, The Pill, like,
Right.
I mean, this has been done before. It's almost like people have like forgotten, or maybe they're not aware, or like even Dolly Parton.
Right.
I mean, the list goes on of women who have paved the way. So I don't think that I'm not leading. I've been inspired by women before me, and even the Dixie Chicks, and like this is not new. So for me, I never thought of myself as like anything other than just continuing carrying the torch, if you will, of people who've already been doing it. And to be honest, I actually didn't know, and I wasn't aware that women weren't being played as much on radio because I just listened to whatever I wanted to.
Right.
And so, but seeing those statistics, it's just confusing to me, I guess. And it's not even in a way of like, I'm angry. It's just more of like why, I just want to understand why it is the way that it is right now. Cause it's very fascinating to me. Cause I view music in a very like emotional thing. Like if you make me feel something, like I'm a fan for life. Like that's it. That's
100%.
pretty much my radar. So everything, the way that country is right now, it's just, I hope everybody can get on the same page at some point, because as of now, it just seems a little scattered as far as like where our bar is set and like who represents us the best. And I think it's expanding, which is a really exciting thing, but I think everybody is a little scared of expanding, and I just want everybody to be excited about it, because I think growing is like the best part of life. So I hope everybody can just embrace that eventually.
I would say, and I'm going to get in trouble again, but I would say to anybody who's listening or watching or whatever that wants to be a part of, supporting that, is you do have to continue to stream the artists, request the artists, things like that, because that's what radio looks at. And they go, okay, well, you know what? Ingrid's getting millions of streams. We have to play this song. And you're right. There are so many talented women out there. Caitlin Smith, I love. Ashley.
Oh my God. Her voice is insane.
Her voice is insane, dude. I mean, nuts.
Like flawless. I'm just like, how do you sing like that?
But that's an artist that I have never heard played on country radio before. And it's a crying shame. And there's so many others that we could go down the list and talk about. And
we could talk about it for days, literally.
It's confusing, but the best thing I think people can do is to continue to stream, demand to hear those artists, because eventually, shouldn't have to be that way, but eventually it certainly will work. I want to talk about genres again and sort of your journey, because as I was, reading up on your history and your past, you've done a lot of different things. Like I read that now listen, some of this is from Wikipedia, so it could be totally wrong. You got to correct me if it's not, but
let's go. Let's dive into Wikipedia. I'm curious.
So you were a drummer in a metal band in middle school. Is that true? Please tell me that's true. Okay. That's 100% true. You've obviously written songs for pop artists before. You went to go hang with Cara Diaguardi, who we all know from American Idol. She's obviously a singer, songwriter, producer, executive, all that good stuff. So there's a lot of different mix in there. You just said you're a big fan of Megan Thee Stallion. And, I wonder why you eventually chose country as the genre, because I imagine at some point as an artist, when you talk to the label, they're going to go, okay, where are we going? Are we going pop? Are we going metal? Are we going... where are we going?
Can you imagine if I was a metal artist?
Hey man, apparently you did it.
I pictured it at one point in my life. I cut my hair up to here and I wore chains. It was like the best time of my life.
I love it.
Luckily did not go that route because, I think country has always been such an honest, or at least the country that I grew up listening to, has always embraced just a story, like a true story, and is just super honest. And pop music is awesome. Like I love like the lights and like glamour and like the extreme, like Megan Thee Stallion. I'm just like, I want to be you in my next life,
Right.
But the more I got to know myself, the more I realized that I just really enjoy things the way they are and just say it like it is. And country has been the only genre that has done that for me, but in such a smart way. Like Whiskey Lullaby, I was like 8 years old. None of that had happened to me, but I was crying and I was like, why am I crying? Like, are they dead? Like, are these real people? Like, I don't know. It was just, there's something about the honesty and the authenticity of just talking about real life scenarios that is what makes music so special to me. And so, and pop music can do it sometimes too. But country really is the only genre that gives you the canvas to be like, tell your story, because we're going to listen.
You're right.
Whereas in
100%.
pop, people are like, I want to dance, or I want to cry, or I want to headbang. And you're just like, what do you want? Whereas in country, it's like, it's just, we just want a story to relate to. And that is so beautiful to me, and kind of like encompasses humanity to me in a way. So
very well said.
Yeah. But I do enjoy all different types. Like I love living vicariously through other people. Like Megan
Absolutely.
Stallion. I'm like, you could do the splits? Me too. I can't actually do the splits. You actually inspired me to do yoga after seeing that WAP music video. I was like, right? Is everybody this flexible? I'm like, okay, I gotta get on this.
Let's take a hard left turn and talk about Christmas. Let's talk about Christmas always finds me. Okay, so once again, I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you, Ingrid, because when I was talking with Chad Schultz, who's from the label, about scheduling this time with you, he said, "Can you please listen to the Christmas song?" And in my opinion, 99.9% of new original Christmas songs are not any good. They're so bad. They're really bad. They really are. They're bad.
Like real bad. Yeah.
You could see where this is going now, because obviously I loved it. But I put it on again when I'm in the bath there with my 2 beers, and I'm like, all right, I get through the album. Now let's listen to Christmas Always Finds Me. And I really was like, this is not going to be good. And it's really, really, really good. I genuinely, I loved every second of it. And I mean that truly. And even the artwork for the cover of the artwork with it's like a hand-drawn type thing. It's like really, really good.
That was a whole process. Trust me. I was like critiquing everything until it was perfect.
Tell me about all of it, because as I understand, this wasn't like a planned thing for you.
It was not. I love a good challenge. And so to me, the best original Christmas song is Mariah Carey. And so I was just like, I'm not even going to try, but I'm a very competitive person. And so I was like, you know what? I could try to do my own spin on a Christmas song. It's just not going to be like the holly jolly feel that everybody's looking for. Like my job is to make everybody sad. So, that's my role. So to me, it was very natural, because I just was thinking about how the holidays are going to be so different this year, and it kind of hit me randomly, and I was just like, but I didn't want to be sad about it. So I was like, okay, well, where's the silver lining in this? And it's just that Christmas has been a thing for so long, like you can't not feel festive even during a pandemic. Like Christmas still exists. And that concept to me was really inspiring, because even if I don't get to like see my family or whatever this year, like it's still Christmas. And that is like such a mind-blowing thing in a pandemic. And that's kind of what it inspired the whole song. And I've always loved like River, Joni Mitchell is like I know that's not like a popular holiday song, but like that's probably my favorite. So I really wanted to like make it sound classic in sort of the way that she did hers, with like the modulations and the strings. And I just wanted it to feel nostalgic. So that's the story.
Well, and so, also because you moved around a lot with your family and whatnot. And it's something that certainly hit home with me, because, with radio, I've had to move around quite a bit for my job. And I do have 3 kids. Who are 7, 6, and 2. And we've lived since they've been born, we lived in like 3 different cities. And so it's one of those things that when I was listening to it, I was like, wow, this truly hits home, because they've never had a Christmas where they've said that it was any different, or that, it's weird. How come we're in this house this year and not the other house? It's always been a magical Christmas. And that's what this song really is. And it truly, like, got me, dude. It's really great. It's great.
Good. As somebody who literally has moved, like you said, home base for me is like nowhere,
Right.
Like I am a nomad. And so it's really more about the people you're with. But since I can't be with those people this year, it's just like, well, then where is Christmas? And then you're just like, oh, okay, right. It's like more of a mindset. It's a being grateful for you even just having those people in your life, and just, it's a whole thing. You get it.
I do. 100%. I do. All right. We're going to play Ladylike in a second. I do want to play a game called Feel in the Blank. And I'm actually really excited to play this with you.
Oh, wait, what is this?
It's called Feel in the Blank. All right. So here's the deal. My wife thinks that there's something wrong with me because I love sad songs. I really do. I love like songs that break your heart, because I love to feel like sad. And she's like, what is wrong with you? We're in like a happy marriage. Why are you sad all the time? And I'm like, I like to feel. I just like to feel it. It just gets you. You know what I mean? Obviously.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm with you. 100%.
So here's how Feel in the Blank works. I'm going to give you 5 sentences, and at the end, you're going to have to tell me a song that makes you feel a certain way. So for instance, the first one is, I feel pure joy when I listen to blank.
Joy? What is that?
I don't know. Handsome. Mbop, dude. Whatever.
Oh my gosh. Actually, that's a good one. Probably, what is the Jason Derulo song? Want You to Want Me?
Want You to Want Me is a great one. Yeah.
Yeah. That one's just pure
Fantastic
happiness.
You're right. It's good. All right. Number 2, I feel heartbroken when I listen to blank.
Both Sides, Joni Mitchell.
Great answer. Number 3, I feel determined when I listen to blank.
What is the Eminem song?
You talking about Without Me, or are you
Lose
talking
Yourself?
About Lose Yourself? That's a great one.
Yes.
It's got
that's
that like
my determined.
Bum.
You only got one shot. Mom spaghetti. Yeah, exactly.
I love it. All right, 2 more. Number 4, I feel in love when I listen to blank. Or I guess the feeling of love.
Right. Anything? Maybe At Last, Etta James.
Great song. All right, last one. I feel like a kid when I listen to blank.
Slave for You, Britney Spears.
That's the total not direction I thought you were going to go. I thought because you talked about Disney earlier, we were going to go Disney song, and you went Britney Spears, I'm a slave for you. That could not have been any better.
I probably should have done a Disney song, but for some reason that was the first one that popped into my head.
Trust me, that's so much better.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on everything. Genuinely, I hope you know I'm being serious and not some radio guy talking you up. I love the album. It's so good, and I'm so happy for you. I can't wait to see what else we get from you in the future, and I hope everyone loves Ladylike as much as I do.
Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for listening to it, and honestly, Hot Tub is the best way to listen to any album.
Right? Come on now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're doing it right, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Ingrid. I really appreciate it. Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Of course. You too.
Bye.